Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, live from Lagos and Abuja. A reminder of our top stories. Inspector General of Police wades into ban on protest in Abuja, reverses decision by the FCT command. Parts of Lagos grind to a halt as students of the state's university take to the streets to protest hike in their school fees. PDP and APC members of the House of Representatives in a face-off over move to declare vacant the seats of defected members. And Kenya investigates presence of white widow in the country. All our top stories can be found on our website, ChannelsTV.com, and on YouTube.com/channelsweb. And to get us on the move, visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. And you can interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android and Windows 8 platforms. If you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap on the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. The House of Representatives has asked the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to extend its ongoing review of voter registers and the registration of eligible voters by 1 week. INEC phased the exercise by taking each of the 6 geopolitical zones in the country one at a time. The Commission gives a grace of 2 days to voters who may have missed out. In a resolution today, however, the House said the 2-day grace was not enough and asked INEC to extend the exercise by 1 week.
Recently, the Commission announced that all registered voters should go to their various units to collect their permanent voters card, with which they would vote in the forthcoming election in 2015 and other subsequent elections. Surprisingly, Mr. Speaker, a lot of persons who registered during the exercise could not find their names in the new registers and therefore do not have any voter's card, be it temporary or permanent. The House is further worried that a total of 654 polling units in Benue State recorded 0 voters registration, thereby disenfranchising close to 700,000 potential voters by this act of omission of INEC, despite the huge funds that was appropriated for the process. The House is further disturbed that aside from the time for the exercise being insufficient, the machines that were deployed for the exercise were far from being perfect.
The Senate will vote tomorrow on the contentious amendments contained in the report of its Committee on Constitution Review and Electoral Act 2010. The amendments are, among others, seeking powers for INEC to issue duplicate voter cards before election, determine voting procedure, holding of elections on a single day, and causing the electoral body to conduct debates for all candidates who are contesting election into the office of president. Apart from this, the amendments seek the conduct of general elections 6 months before the expiration of the tenure of the incumbent, while by-elections should be held twice a year. Studios in Abuja. Hello, Gloria.
Well, thank you, Bimbo, and welcome to the nation's capital. Exactly 2 years after the Dana air crash in Lagos, which killed all 153 passengers on board, the coroner inquiring into the cause of the crash, Magistrate Oyetade Komolafe, has come out with his findings. Magistrate Komolafe today held that the court could not arrive at a specific verdict on the cause of the crash, owing to the inconclusive investigation by the Accident Investigation Bureau. The coroner, however, made recommendations on steps to be taken by authorities to avoid future mistakes, as well as improving rescue operations whenever such incident occurs. They include the establishment of a national body for logistics and supply for body handlers and retrievals, an urgent need for a forensic science laboratory in each geopolitical zone, and any state that can have such, and the enactment of a national coroner system. Well, despite the ongoing legal dispute over a chief judge for Rivers State, the National Judicial Council has appointed Justice Daisy Okocha as the state's acting chief judge. The council, headed by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Maram Aloma Makhtar, directed Justice Okocha, the most senior judge in the Rivers State judiciary, to assume office. Although her name was not specifically mentioned, Justice Daisy Okocha was mandated to begin to assign cases to her brother judges and to also perform other administrative functions. A statement by the Acting Director of Information of NJC also directed the most senior judge in the customary Court of Appeal in Rivers to take up functions at that level. The NJC had earlier suspended Justice Peter Agumagu, who was appointed Chief Judge by Governor Rotimi Amechi, on the grounds that the appointment did not follow due process. Now, delegates at the National Conference have conditionally approved the removal of subsidy on petroleum products, but only after government builds new refineries and repairs existing ones. This position followed amendments on the recommendations proposed by the Committee on Public Finance. Our correspondent, Lanre Lasisi, reports that the delegates insisted that only when these and other conditions are met would government be free to remove subsidy on petroleum products.
Now, with 50 delegates speaking the day before and over 100 yet to speak on the report under consideration, it was clear delegates were in for a long day. But before they commenced the business of the day, one of the delegates narrated his narrow shave with death.
Immediately after leaving Lekida, around the border town between Borno State, Adamawa State and Borno State, we were ambushed. And from nowhere, shots started coming. And it was targeted our car. We were all inside the car, with about 40 of them shooting the same car. The driver could not start. And looking at the situation, the only option for me was to bolt out. And I bolted out. They were shooting. Only God, it was a miracle.
But before they could continue with consideration of the report of the Committee on Public Finance, a motion to have the number of delegates to speak on the report reduced led to a debate.
So let us start this one now and see when we finish it. And when we start other committees, we can change gear. So if you want to speak through the presentation or anybody or how you want to do it. So please let us start.
Delegates then continued with their comments on the report.
If I come from a village where there's a rap line, let the youth in that place. One, it will give them employment. Two, it will prevent the stealing of oil. But they didn't care. While I support the removal of subsidy, on the other hand, I do not subscribe to those that are saying remove subsidy total now. Just to propose that we should give a period of 3 years, terminal to 3 years, within which the government should build at least 6 refineries.
Next, it was time for the recommendations to be considered. As expected, the issue of fuel subsidy was a key point that took some time to resolve.
That the federal government shall, within a period of 5 years from debt, build new refineries and repair existing ones to full capacity utilization.
This motion by the Wanyawu group has read to you with the amendment proposed that it should come in 3 years from the time government accepts the proposal. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. Definitely, I have.
Now, with that report out of the way, the conference moved on to the report of the Committee on Civil Society and Labor, but adjourned for the day after the chairman of the committee gave a summary of the report. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
The military has dismissed claims in some quarters that it has court-martialed 10 army generals involved in selling arms and ammunition meant for the prosecution of the war with Boko Haram in the northeast. There are insinuations that the said very senior army officers in charge of the armory have been selling arms to Boko Haram members. Also, when asked to comment on the court-martial of the officers, the Minister of Interior, Mr. Abamoro, would not confirm or deny the allegation. He simply explained that court-martial is a normal process used by the military in dealing with those who flout the rules of engagement. Well, the federal government has again reinstated its commitment to tackle the nation's security challenges through the provision of adequate equipment for security agencies. But speaking in Abuja while commissioning vehicles for officers and men of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Minister of Interior, Comrade Abamoro, says the government will continue to motivate security agencies in order to ensure a safe and secure environment. He appealed to Nigerians to assist the government in the area of provision of information and intelligence that could assist in solving the security issues facing the country.
Permit me to use this opportunity to reiterate the government's determination to tackle head-on the present security challenges to make the country safer for its citizens and create an investment-friendly environment to further enhance the growth and development of the nation's economy. To this end, the government has shown greater zeal in the training and welfare of its security personnel, as well as the provision of adequate equipment to boost their morale and motivate them to put in their all for a safe and secure environment. Let me assure you, therefore, that the Ministry of Interior, under my watch, will spare no effort in ensuring that you have all the logistics that you require to perform your duties.
Well, following the uproar that greeted the recently amended pension law in Akwa Ibom State, the state governor Godswill Akpabio has asked the state legislature to expunge the aspects that pegs the health allowance for ailing governors and their wives at 50 million naira each per annum. While speaking to journalists in Lagos today, Governor Akpabio explained that the initial amendment was done in good faith. He, however, notes that the removal of the controversial section is in line with democratic tenets, which allow the voice of the people to be heard.
It was done with all amount of good intentions. But for me, I believe that in any democracy, you must listen to the people. Whether the people were misled, were misinformed, or it's a deliberate falsehood calculated to achieve a political purpose, I must immediately rise to the occasion. And what I've decided, and in consultation with members of the State Executive Council, is that we must appeal to the House of Assembly to review the law immediately, and then remove the provision in quote that may seem obnoxious or that has been misinterpreted to be obnoxious, and that is the aspect of 100 million medical health grant, or not even a grant, medical health provision, and 50 million medical health provision. So we will retain what had been there in the law in the last 16 years, which was free medical services for past governors and their deputies without the inclusion of any sum. I'm sure that will satisfy Nigerians, and that will put paid to the issue.
Well, still ahead on the news at 10, Emefiele officially resumes duty as new central bank governor. That's in business news. Join us again.